Let's just do another one. I have been so moved reading what everyone has been putting in the chat. I really encourage you to, if you haven't already, people have been sharing something that they love about darkness, and you all have hit on so many of the themes that we're going to explore tonight. I want to just kick us off with a little bit of framing about why I wanted to have this class. We are, oops, Bobby, I think maybe it's mute. Okay. We are living in the midst of really hard times right now. We've been talking a lot about at Leif Ha'ir about what's happening with ICE and different actions you can take, and people are just living through such horrors right now, and many folks are working so hard. We're throwing down to protect our neighbors, to do rent relief, and it's a lot, and we are all going through so much personally and collectively, and our people have turned to sacred study and song as tools of survival, as tools of meaning making, of tools of resilience, and of tools of returning to our own humanness. I've been spending a lot of time with the Psalms recently, and the Psalms to me, it's like this permission to sort of unbutton, and just so many Psalms about like, what's going on, God? My bed is soaked in tears. Like, what the heck, you know? And there's so much space and invitation in our tradition to just really come close to everything we're experiencing. And I find that communal text study and song are ways to do that. And specifically, I wanted to have a class on this topic because, you know, we just had the solstice, and we are in Shvat. We have moved away from Kislev, and it's starting. We're kind of in a cool cusp in the calendar where you get up in the morning, and my friend and I were driving, and we were in the morning. And we were like, wait, it's a little bit more light than we thought. That's interesting. You know, it's a time where we can really be with the seasonal change up close and personal. And I find that being with the light, being with the dark, being with the cycle can be very renewing. We have so much that we can learn from the moon herself, which we're going to look at and sing about later. I also wanted to have this class to drop into a realm where we don't have to output for the next hour. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to have your camera on. You don't have to answer a single question I put in the chat. You don't have to sing. You can just let it all wash over you and take what you need. And also to expand our collective Torah around dark and light. And we're gonna get into this in a minute, but how we view the world and how we use language really informs the actions that we take. In our beautiful mythology, God spoke the world into being. So we really create worlds with our language. And there's a lot of things that are happening. We're moving in ways based on our language that we're not even consciously aware of. And there, in our current world, where there is just so much violence and oppression towards people who aren't white, aren't sort of associated with like lightness and goodness. And that's actually, it's really rooted in white supremacy, the fact that we have so much positivity around light, and so we've learned so much negative associations around darkness. And I just saw in the chat so many beautiful and sacred associations that are possible when we just sort of stop and allow ourselves to go into the depths of darkness. And so this class is really it's a blessing for expansion. It's a blessing for kind of challenging ourselves to think differently about maybe the language that we use, for the sake of beautifying the Shekhinah, for the sake of beautifying the world, beautifying just the sacred and being alive. And, you know, we talk a lot about revelation. I think revelation is ongoing. And Torah, if we let it, it can reveal some stuff to us. We can be changed by it. So may we all be moved in some way from our study together. And in that vein, I want to officially open up our learning tonight with the blessing for Torah learning. And I'm going to put in the chat, this is the feminine language. This is the traditional masculine language. And then this is a very beautiful translation by Rabbi Arthur Waskow, Zichrono Livracha. So I invite you all to just take a moment, just kind of feel your body, close your eyes if you want to, and tune in to, first of all, a little bit of gratitude for making it to class tonight, for carving this time out for sake of learning. You can just do a little bit of sort of wiping off any of the dregs from the day, the to-do list that you don't want to bring in. And let us bless this sacred study that we are about to do. How blessed and how precious is it that we get to study Torah in our lifetime? And I'll be doing the feminine. You can do whichever version you want. Brucha at Havaya Eloteinu Ruach Haolam Asher Kitchanu B'mitzvoteha V'tzivatnu La'asok B'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, breath of life, who makes us holy through connections and teaches us to connect by soaking ourselves in the living waters of Torah. Oh, amen. So good every time. All right. So, all right, I'm going to put in the chat our source sheet that we are going to be studying together. And Bobby, if you would be so kind, Bobby is doing everything. So just send Bobby some love for all the ways she's just rocking out. Bobby, if you wouldn't mind screen sharing the source sheet, so you can open it up on your own computer, and we're also going to screen share it. And I want to read just a little excerpt from someone who kind of as an ancestor has been a teaching of mine. We learned a lot about Ibrahim Baba, who is a sheikh in the Islamic mystical tradition. And it felt right to open up our space with his beautiful prayer because there's so much demonization that takes place in the form of Islamophobia. And dark and light are beautiful teachers for all traditions. And I feel like, it's just really important to honor the works of our sibling religions, as they so often get demonized in the same way that Judaism does.
If people can give me a thumbs up to tell me that whether that's large enough, or do I need to make it bigger? See some lips moving, but you're muted, so that's not helpful.
I think Evie is going bigger. Evie's
bigger.
Going
Enid is going bigger.
Okay.
Okay. So he writes, so this is a black queer Sufi mystic who wrote all sorts of amazing things and was part of getting the Kohenet program off the ground. So we call him a Kohenet ancestor in the community that I learned from. And he writes, "We do not have to abase darkness in order to exalt light. Demonization of darkness is at the root of body hatred, hatred of women and their bodies, destruction of peoples, the colors of the earth, fear and hatred of the erotic, like the kind of the sensual, the juiciness, queer transphobia, Islamophobia, Judeophobia, fear and hatred of paganism and earth-based traditions, fear and hatred of people with disabilities, fear of wombs, fear of tombs. Is there any room anymore for endarkenment? Is there any room anymore for endarkenment? So it is for the sake of endarkenment. We think, often hear enlightenment. He is advocating for a theology of darkness being sacred. So this is the prayer for our learning for tonight. So I want us to, we're going to get to some 5 books of Moses Torah stuff. But before we do that, I want to start from a way zoomed out perspective. And I'm thinking of the level of Ein Sof. And Ein Sof might be familiar to many of you. It is the name for Hashem, the name for the divine. That means there's no end, which means the infinite. And this is a conception of God as bigger than we can possibly conceive, and then bigger than that. Thinking on the level of the universe. And I was actually listening to a podcast the other day on dark matter. Dark matter is some profound mystical stuff. And so I want you to see what dark matter has to teach us. Interesting. It's showing a little bit of an older version, Bobby, of this is my bad. Maybe can you open up the chat, the one that I put in the chat, and I can also, for this one, I can also share. Oh, I can't share. So yeah, this podcast is called Ologies by Allie Ward. She's the best. And she interviews different experts on different things. And I was listening to this and I was like, this is Ein Sof. This is Ein Sof teaching us about darkness. And so this is a quote from, yes, perfect, thank you. This is a quote from the professor that she was talking with. So he says, so first he says only 5% of the universe is what we can see, hear, feel, and touch. It's kind of like that material stuff. 25% of the universe is made of this thing, dark matter. And only 5% is made of the stuff that we're used to. Our galaxy is only here because it is swimming in an ocean of dark matter that provides the gravitational pull to keep the galaxy there. The galaxy formed because there was dark matter. Okay, the galaxy formed because of dark matter. This is the fish scientist discovering for the first time that there's this thing, water, that we're swimming in. And so the rest, so you got 5% stuff that we can see. 25% is dark matter. 70% is dark energy. And I'm excited that I have no idea what dark matter is. So this is a dark matter expert saying he has no idea. I see some of you smiling. And this makes you think of God, right? We don't know what's going on. We can try and understand the mysteries of the universe, but they're so much bigger than us. And I'm no scientist, but I was trying to understand this idea of dark matter, and it's an absence of photons. It's an absence of light. And basically, they were discovering that there's something about the gravitational pull. It's not just straight up gravity. There's this sort of woven web, I've seen it online, called fabric, that is actually keeping our galaxy together. So I thought this was just really interesting in terms of sort of challenging our ideas of light and dark. That's the first source I wanted to bring in. Okay, now let's move to some Torah. Okay. So this book opens up Genesis. We see. Oh, can you scroll just a little down, Bobby? Oh, sorry. Other way. That was the wrong. Up a little more. Okay, perfect. Breshit bara Elohim. So this is the beginning of the Torah. Et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Ve'haaretz hayta tohu vavohu. Ve'choshech. Al pnei tehom. Ve'ruach Elohim merachefet al pnei hamayim. When God began to create heaven and earth, the earth being unformed and void, with darkness over the surface of the deep, and a wind from God sweeping over the water. Actually, picture this. Picture darkness over the surface of the deep, and a wind from God sweeping over the water. This is like the beginning of everything. So just think a sec in your mind. See if you can picture that. See if you can feel what it feels like, what it brings up for you. So let's see what Rashi, one of the most famous commentators helping us understand, like literally what the Bible is saying. Rashi comments on tohu vavohu. So that's what the world was desolate and void. The earth was uniformed and void. And he says, the word tohu signifies astonishment and amazement. Astonishment and amazement. For a person, had they been there at the creation of the world, would have been astonished and amazed at its emptiness. So I want to think together on this. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of our everything. What is Rashi trying to teach us here? What is this verse? What messages can we draw about darkness? And you can just unmute yourself or just put it in the chat and I'll read it out loud. But feel super welcome to unmute yourself. I will be sad if this is just me talking this whole class. What can we learn? What is the Torah? What is Rashi perhaps trying to teach us about the role of darkness?
Should I jump in?
Yes. Who is this? Tell us who you are.
Eleonora.
Hello.
Hi. It seems that darkness has immense potential and is this creative force. It's not a nothingness. There is this beautiful, generous energy to it.
I love that. It's generosity. It's almost like the complete opposite of nothingness. And it makes me, well, yeah, that's beautiful. Anyone else want to add to that?
Hi, this is Alyssa speaking.
Hi.
There's something about the word emptiness that feels really inviting. Like, there's something about the unknown that's in the darkness that is like, I guess, meant from what Rashi's saying to be exciting and astonishing. It's like all that you actually cannot, like everything that the light doesn't touch is in mystery, and that is a point of excitement.
Yes. Beautiful. Yes, totally beautiful. Darkness is what the world came out of. Darkness is literally how the world got made. And what I hear Eleonora and Alyssa speaking to is darkness is fertile grounds for creativity. If any of you here have creative practices, you know that it comes, and it needs somewhere to come from. And I love this idea of also God being God sweeping over the water. Like God is right there. Like it's dark and God is close. Like you can feel wind, right? You can see how it moves things. And this line also made me think of a womb. And there's a lot of references in our texts. I didn't bring one in, but it's all over the Psalms. God, you made me from the womb. And interestingly, tohu, choshech al penei tehom, the darkness over the surface of the deep, tehom as deep. One of my teachers, Kohenet Rabbi Jill Hammer, talks about how tehom shares a root with Tiamat, which was an ancient primordial goddess. And from her womb, the earth got made. And the womb sort of connotes, it's the seed of us. We were all formed in a womb. We were formed in the dark. And we're going to talk a little more about, we're going to chant a little more about this concept of tehom. Okay, we're going to come back to that. Okay, I want us to keep moving though. I could spend an hour and 15 minutes on one text, and I'm going to try not to do that. Okay, so next we've got Shemot. There's trippy stuff happening on the mountain. It's dark, it's thundering, it might even be upside down. There's like so much going on. Bnei Israel is like totally in like fear and awe. And God is giving the 10 Commandments to Moses. So this is another extremely epic moment in our mythology. Okay. So I'm just gonna do the English for this one. So Moses answered the people, "Be not afraid." So Bnei Israel is kind of freaking out. Moses says, "Be not afraid. God has only come in order to test you and in order that the fear of God may be ever with you so that you do not go astray." I brought that sentence in just to give you some context. So they're kind of freaking out. So the people remained at a distance while Moses approached the thick cloud where God was. And this line in the Hebrew, it's Nigash, it's 1, 2, 3, it's the third line down. Umoshe nigash el ha'arafel asher sham Elohim. And this thick cloud also gets translated into this thick cloud of darkness. That's what it connotes. It's like a very, very dense, completely dark cloud. So Moses approached the thick cloud where God was. And then what happens? God says to Moses, "Thus shall you say to the Israelites, you yourselves saw that I spoke to you from the very heavens." And then proceeds to give Moses the download. What's going on here? What are you noticing about darkness? Joyce, go ahead.
I think that the darkness is the Israelites were afraid, but God lets Moses know that there's nothing to fear in the darkness. That's well, our day begins in darkness. Our our calendar starts the evening and to the day. So evening opens up the potential for what the day will bring. And you can And actually, when you're in the darkness, you can see the heavens. You see the sun, and sometimes you see the moon, but you don't see the stars, you don't see the other planets, you don't get to feel um, that expanse, that that extension of what could possibly be coming.
Yeah,
It's
that yeah.
it's there's so much more to see. I mean, you see all of the mundane things during the daytime, but at night you see the heavens and you realize that there's just so much more potential than the daylight brings.
Yeah.
I think I said that right.
Yeah, no, it's beautifully, and I'm really glad you pointed out that the Jewish day actually starts at night. Starts with Mariv. Um, and I also think, yeah, the message. So you said Moses actually goes into the darkness, and what happens there? What happens when he goes into the darkness? Adonai said to God talks to him. So there's something that's being revealed here around going to the darkness and hearing God.
Maybe without the daylight's interference with all of the things that are going on, you can actually hear it. There's
That's
a
great.
stillness, and that actually opens up. I think a lot of us, at least I do, it's like the night brings that calm that if I really listen close enough, I can hear my spirit.
Yeah, beautiful. And I'm seeing in the chat conversations around, or yeah, Luisa said like just being outside and just like something really opens up, and it's not possible when we're walking around in the daylight, and we think we know things, and we think we can, see and hear and whatever's going on, and it's a way of tuning into the mystery. That's what we can hear things we couldn't necessarily hear. Okay, let's scroll down and look at what our friend, the Kitzur Ba'al HaTurim. This was a new commentator that I hadn't heard of before, but I really liked what he had to say. Actually, Bobby, can you scroll down a little bit more? We're going to look at the other source first. Okay, so the dense cloud, HaRFL. So in Judaism, we love sort of numerology, like looking at what the numbers add up to and what that has to teach us. So the numerical value of this word RFL, 385, is equal to that of the word Shekhinah. Shekhinah, from Shachen to the indwelling sacred presence, the dwelling presence, dwelling sacred presence. So that dark, dense cloud, that's where the divine dwells. That's what the yeah, that's great, Olivia, Dora. That's what the Kitzur Ba'al HaTurim is telling us. And it's kind of, if we sort of contrast our first image is like there's darkness and there's these winds sweeping over, and now we have just a different image of, you could think of it, one, as Joyce was pointing out, it could be going towards the fear. But any sort of, there's something that we can hear when we're sort of in this dark cloud. We can hear God speaking to us. Okay, and then Bobby, can you go to the next source?
While I'm doing that, I want to add that the way some of us think of God as being everywhere and not an anthropomorphic kind of God, that having God kind of behind the clouds in the darkness makes more sense than having a God that's visual,
Mm. Mm.
that you can actually see in the light. At least to me, that's how it feels.
Beautiful. And I'm so glad you said that, because that's bringing a point home. It's like we have the Ein Sof, like the infinite dark matter. This is how the earth got made, God concept. And then we have like the cloud, the unseeable. I'll also think of it as the kol demama daka, that still small voice that's actually closer to us than our own skin, than our own breath. So beautiful. And our people love having a million different ways to name God. So pick whichever one is speaking to you. Honestly, that's what we're supposed to do, I think. Okay. Now we are going to look at the Mariv prayer. So Mariv, in the morning we daven Shacharit, in the afternoon we daven Mincha, and Mariv is the evening prayer. And this was when you all came, the beginning of this shiur, this class, we heard Rachel Chang's, who's an amazing, amazing Philly musician and a teacher, and she made a sort of lullaby version of this, which maybe we can send you all off tonight with this song. But let's read the translation and just notice what comes up for you. Notice how you feel. Notice what words stick out. And I might just kind of play with some of the God language. Blessed are you, sacred presence, our God, Queen of the universe. With God's word, God brings on evenings. With wisdom, God opens the gates of heaven. And with understanding, changes the times and alternates the seasons, and arranges the stars in their watches. I love that. Stars are kind of up there watching us, guarding us. In the sky, according to God's will. God creates day and night. God rolls the light away from before darkness, and darkness from before light. God causes day to pass and brings night, and separates between day and night. Adonai of hosts is God's name. The Almighty, who is living and enduring, will always reign over us forever and ever. Blessed are you, sacred, who brings on evening. Anyone want to share anything that came up for you? Maybe someone who hasn't shared yet? What stood out to you from this?
See a lot of motion here, moving things, opening the gates, arranging the stars, rolling the light away from darkness. And it kind of makes me feel like the universe is moving. We know we're moving. Everything is in motion constantly. Causes day to pass and brings night, separates. So it's a lot of action, moving things here.
I love that. And I love that you have moving trees in the background as you're speaking. It's really it helps us realize like the physicality of the universe, like both externally, like all of the processes that are happening, and then also internally, like circadian rhythm, like all of the sort of rhythms that we go through from day to day, even over the course of a day. There's something really, really tangible about it, which, that's beautiful. And it's a way of sort of, I think one big function of prayer is just calling us to attention and presence, things we might have missed. And this is saying like, no, let's notice that we are transitioning. There's like physical stuff happening right now that is taking us from one point of the day to another. And it's just going to keep happening. Kendra.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about both what was just shared, the amount of activity in this bracha, and also it's making me reorient towards night as the beginning of the day, and like actually kind of living into the Jewish time component instead of thinking of night as the end of the day. And if night is a beginning, it that amount of activity kind of brings me back to the activity of creation, and like each new night day or each new beginning of the next unit of time that we call a day, kind of being a mini creation again and again.
Woo! Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And that's also, yeah, that's a beautiful invitation of like, you know, in moments of stuckness in our own lives, like, hey, creation, the world is being made anew right now, every day, and that's just a fact. So it's good to remember that that's actually reality. Beautiful. Okay, let's go to our last liturgical source. Yeah, there's some contemporary thinkers that I want to make sure we get to, but I just want to give a quick thing. Kiddush Levana, it's the blessing for the full moon. People will historically go out. There's more prayer, you say, and then people will jump 3 times and sort of like praise the moon. And it's really epic. And the liturgy is, and God said to the moon, the white moon, renew yourself, a crown of beauty to those carried in the womb who are destined to renew themselves like her. A crown of beauty to those carried in the womb who are destined to renew themselves like her. Which makes me think exactly what, Kendra, you're saying of just this process of renewal happening on so many different time scales. And those carried in the womb, you know, that could be us. And it makes me think of what a lot of people have been saying about just looking up at the sky and being like, oh, things are so much more vast than I often remember. And these the moon, the stars, these are crowns of beauty, crowns like above us. Yeah, and Luisa says when we're asleep, we're in our own process of darkness. That's beautiful. Okay, awesome. So let's keep going, and we're gonna get to singing in just a few minutes. Don't you worry. Just to kind of touch on some, Torah as the world's most ancient book club, just adding our more contemporary voices. Hadar Cohn writes, so she writes about kind of getting into this winter time. The sun shines less, the nights grow longer, time shifts into the domain of the moon. The moon represents our internal world, our mind, emotions, our healing process. With long moon nights, we sleep more and dream more. The moon invites us into these prophetic experiences. There are so many key times in our Torah where dreams, which happen when people are in darkness, maybe which happen when people are in that RFL, that thick, dark cloud, they can hear things more clearly. Our consciousness learns to engage with the darkness in a different way. We make magic in the dark. We dance with the moon. We navigate the waters of our internal world and the subconscious energies that invite us to come alive. So I thought that was really great in sort of getting at some of the kind of just like more interesting associations with darkness and nighttime and the moon. Okay, and scroll down, please. And then this is a beautiful piece of Torah that Kendra wrote, and I could not figure out how to chop it down, so it was just too hard. So it starts out with the Mariv blessing. Blessed are you, God, ruler of the universe, whose word brings the evening into being. I love the dark, thanks in no small part to my astronomer grandfather. I have fond memories of setting up telescope equipment in fields and forests, accidentally getting my fingerprints all over lenses and chroma filters. I love the way darkness calls us to a deepened sense of awareness and holds the possibility for restoration. It was in the dark that I learned how to listen and feel my way through the world around me. This love for the dark helps me find meaning in winter's long, chilly nights. And it makes me think of, like there's so much fear of night, and just thinking like in different times, people being able to navigate in the dark, that's when the world came alive. That's how, hearing animals and just the other communities that come alive that we can kind of often forget about, especially in our like focus on being inside and artificial light. Okay. Darkness gives cover. Darkness is transition. Darkness is magic. Let me read that again. Darkness gives cover. Darkness is transition. Darkness is magic. In the decades leading up to the Civil War, the vast, elaborate network of the Underground Railroad saw tens of thousands of enslaved Black people through to freedom. For many, Detroit, the city I call home, was the last stop. Known by the code name Midnight, and separated from so-called Canada by the Detroit River, the city served as an in-between place, perched on the cusp of freedom. Darkness gives cover. Darkness is transition. Darkness is magic. In Exodus 2, our foundational liberation narrative, darkness was only a plague to those who could not, or rather refused, to see the humanity of the Israelites. And through Moses' retelling of our experience of revelation at Sinai, we learned that Hashem's voice emanated from the darkness as we prepared to receive the Torah. Darkness gives cover. Darkness is transition. Darkness is magic. All year round, but especially in winter, we are bombarded with calls to seek out light and to banish darkness. And frankly, I'm not interested. As with all things, race makes itself known in our language and symbolism. For centuries, white supremacist logic has tried to convince us that all that is right is white and light, and that darkness is void and ungodly. And yet, I carry a deep knowing in my body that could not be further from the truth. Darkness is as old as God's self. Above us at night and below us in the depths of the oceans and the earth's layers, darkness is always with us, thank God, and it is teeming with life and possibility. This year, in the celebration of a thick, rich, overflowing darkness, I will be lighting my Chanukiah in the tradition of Beit Shammai, beginning with 8 candles and welcoming a little more darkness each night. It's going to take a moment of just kind of being together in silence to just kind of let that one land. Darkness gives cover. Darkness is transition. Darkness is magic. Let that be al regel echad, on one foot. If you take away anything from this class, let it be that piece of Torah. And then our last contemporary thinker I want to look at, Rachel Chang, wrote a beautiful song of this Kiddush Levana, this renewing of the moon, blessing of the moon liturgy, and she has a beautiful writing, which I linked. I'm going to read it. Kiddush Levana is a Jewish ritual that invites us to celebrate and sanctify the new moon. The moon holds a special significance for me as a queer, mixed-race Asian Jew, and I'm grateful to the friends, community, and teachers who have led me to hold the moon as a symbol in this way, as a symbol that's been used by all of my ancestors across space, across cultures, across continents to mark the passage of time. I often share an image that I now hold, of imagining all of those who came before me standing outside at the same time, looking at the dark new moon sky, thinking of themes of renewal, cycles, and beginnings, And this made me think of darkness as ancestral connection, right? Rachel's looking out and she's seeing all of her ancestors looking out at this same sky. Okay, then just a little scroll up. Kiddush Levana is in of itself about marking the passage of time. Part of the beauty of cyclical rituals is that they allow us to return to the same place, to look out at the moon reappearing in the sky, which is the same moon that marked all the other beginnings and yet a new moon each time, and to look back to where we have been, to look around at what has stayed and what has changed, and to look forward, to dream, to yearn for what may come. Okay, thanks, Bobby. I can unshare. Okay, so I don't know about you all, but woo! I've read all those things a bunch of times and I'm still so moved. So we're now going to transition to the portion of the evening where we take all of these sort of words on the page and we get them into our bodies. This is a vital step in terms of embodying Torah. So we're going to sing together. I made a little song sheet that I'm going to put in the chat. And again, you're invited to be here in whatever way you are needing. Let it wash over you, sing, feel. Okay. And I will say actually that I kind of I was really kind of self-conscious of my guitar playing. I was kind of had some imposter syndrome around it. And I told Rachel, yeah, I think I'm like done playing guitar. Like and she looked at me and she was just like, that's so dumb. And I was like, oh, you're right. That's so dumb. So it's actually because of her that I was like, yeah, let's do things that we're not perfect at because they bring us joy. And I like the guitar, so here we go. All right, so all these songs kind of speak for themselves. I'm probably not going to give much framing. This one, pretty easy to catch on to. So we'll just sing it together a few times. To go in the dark with the light is to know the light. Let's teach this. Everyone try that. To go in the dark with the light is to know the light. Beautiful. I can hear you through the screen. To know the dark, go without sight. Try that. To know the dark, go without sight. And find that the dark too blooms and sings. And find that, actually it goes, find that the dark too blooms and sings. And last line, and it's traveled by dark feet and dark wings. Try that. And it's traveled by dark feet and dark wings. To go in the dark with the light is to know the light. To know the dark, go without sight. Find that the dark too blooms and sings, and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings. To go in the dark with the light is to know the light. To know the dark, go without sight. And find that the dark too blooms and sings, and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings. To go in the dark with the light is to know the light. To know the dark, go without sight. And find that the dark too blooms and sings, and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings. And is traveled by dark feet and dark wings. Would it be helpful? We could screen share the song sheet. I don't really want to do that because I think it's so sweet just having everyone's faces up there. And it's in the link, so you can open it up on your own computer and pull it up in the chat. But if anyone is like, it's detracting from their experience that it's not being shared, let me know and we can share it. All right.
I think maybe putting the words in the chat
Perfect.
may solve the...
Perfect. I think Alyssa did that. Thank you so much. That's
Alyssa,
really
do you want to keep doing that?
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not going to be able to get to all of these, so I'm just having a little... Which ones do I... Okay. All right, let's do the next one. The next one, talking about darkness as a place to sort of dream and yearn and be in the unknown, and darkness as transition. I thought this was a really lovely song. Just about being supported, supporting ourselves, just carrying us through whatever change, whatever time we might be going through. And this is from Isaiah. I will carry you through these changes. 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 Ve'at seva ani espo. Ve'at seva ani espo. Ve'at seva ani espo. Ve'at seva ani espo. I will carry you through these changes. I will carry you through these changes. I will carry you through these changes. Okay. Staying in this soft heart carrier, we're going to go to song number 5, which is Reminders. Healing is not linear. Grief has no deadline. You are not broken. Your ancestors have carried you through anxiety and worry. Your body remembers, and it is possible to feel that way again. Healing is not linear. Grief has no deadline. You are not broken. Your ancestors have carried you through anxiety and worry. Your body remembers, and it is possible to feel that way again. Healing is not linear. Grief has no deadline. You are not broken. Your ancestors have carried you through anxiety and worry. Your body remembers. It is possible to feel that way again. And it is possible to feel that way again. And it is possible to feel that way again. All right, now we're gonna go in a slightly, we're gonna go to the next part of our journey, which is really leaning into the yearning. And all these songs are resources, and they're speaking to sort of different parts of the soul. And we're gonna go now to song number 3, which is going to be a chant that we're going to do. I got my little cajon, my little box drum, little one-man band over here. And this, so we hear the word Tehom for the first time. There was darkness on the face of the deep, this line that we started off with from Genesis. And connected to Tiamat, the primordial goddess, that from her womb, the earth came into being. From Hashem, the earth came into being. And my teacher Teama has taught. She talks about Tehom means depth, and depth can be a name for God if that speaks to you. Sometimes I think Tehomim, sacred depths, and Tehom is a powerful. It's a powerful word, and Taya talks about this idea of a Tehomic theology, and that a lot of our sort of ascending and lightness and God is in the heavens, and sometimes when I talk to God, I find myself like literally looking up. And Taya invites us into the question: what becomes possible when we root down? What becomes possible when we look at this downward motion towards the depth, as a way of maybe hearing what we couldn't originally hear, as a way of getting us in touch with the Shekhinah that dwells within our own bodies, as a way of getting us back in touch with the earth and the rhythms of the earth and the relationship that we are in, whether we know it or not, with the earth. And she takes some lines from the book of, it's from Psalm 42. I don't know if we're going to sing. The Hebrew's a little complicated. I want us to sort of focus. We're just going to kind of focus our chant on the first line. Tehom el Tehom koreh. So calling to these sacred depths. Calling out to God in the form of calling out to the sacred depths. From the deep I call to you. And I heard Shefa Gold, I took an amazing class with her, and she talked about what becomes possible in chant is you can really drop in. And so she talks about how whatever comes up for you, whatever comes up for you, chant with that. Chant, like embody that when you're chanting. And it actually, I've found that when I do this, it can be a way to actually really sort of work through something that's inside me that's kind of less on a sort of like cognitive level. So just be with the sacred depths in whatever way may arise. And so it's very simple. Tehom el Tehom koreh, Tehom el Tehom koreh, Tehom. Can you guys hear me sing when I'm drumming? Cool. Okay. Tehom el Tehom koreh, 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 Tehom el Tehom koreh. From the deep I call to you. 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 Tehom el Tehom koreh, Tehom el Tehom koreh, Tehom el Tehom koreh. From the deep I call to you. 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 time is winding down together, this is a chant you can do whenever you want, to call out to the sacred depths and lean down and see what might become possible. And in our closing minute, I want to just invite you all to, after class, take a look at the sky through your window, outside. I know we're surrounded by light, but see what you might be able to hear. And I wanted to send you all off with so this you can leave. This is going to be our official closing of class, unless Bobby, you want to say anything? You're on mute.
I'll never learn. Yeah, I'll say a little something now. I just want to thank you all for attending. You'll all get what'll be the same link for the next session, which will be Monday, February 16, and then the third session will be Thursday, February 26th. I want to thank all of you from the larger community who have donated to help make our programming possible. And if you haven't, there's still always time. Just you can donate at levhayir.org, and there's a link to donate right on the homepage at the top. So thank you all, and I look forward to being with you again in a couple of weeks. Back to Yedid.
Beautiful. Consider this your nighttime lullaby. We're gonna end with Marcia Addy's "Heart of Mine." We're just gonna listen to it. She's an amazing cantor. Can you hear?
Oh, heart of mine, lost and find, my home is sometimes near and sometimes far. It's always changing. Oh, heart of mine, take the time to feel the sadness. Love is always near. It seems they go together. The walls are coming down and down and down, and life is going round and round and round, and love, it will be found and found and found. It's all inside of you. Oh, moon of mine, to see you shine is like as if to wish upon a star. I'm so glad to see you. Oh, moon of mine, the night time will break the bond that holds my heart with yours. I'll always love you. The walls keep coming down and down and down, and life keeps going round and round and round, and love it's always found and found and found. It's all inside of you, all inside of you, all inside of you, all inside of you.
Okay, Lila Tov, everyone. Thanks for being here.